Hello, this is David Waumsley. I've turned the camera on for this one because I want to share with you something more personal about how I am trying to set up a new, more efficient web building service for our clients. And I'm hoping this is going to be more profitable both for them and for me, and generally more enjoyable. Now, I'm a bit nervous about this one because I'm not sure of the value, and I know I'm going to waffle on a bit as I talk off the top of my head. But I hope you'll forgive that, and I hope there'll be something useful out of it, and maybe you'll give me some feedback as well. Now, it does come out of me talking about Beaver Themer, which is the new plugin still in alpha by the Beaver Builder team, which will significantly improve and speed up the way I work on websites in the future. And also in the last video, I mentioned an efficiency plugin which allows us to move around our WordPress install much quicker to build websites. And in that, I mentioned that I was starting to build up my new WordPress blueprint. So this is the install of WordPress which I use to start every new project. So it's got all of the plugins that I'm likely to use configured, some pages added in, and maybe some forms as well. Now, what I'm trying to do at the moment for the new business is to really take that as far as I possibly can using Beaver Themer as well, to put in some themes as well. And also, and this goes in line very much with the new business I'm setting up, I wanted to change the focus to getting clients to look at traffic and conversion. So with most of the work that I've done, I work with a friend who's got most of her business. She's been running it some really, I think, something like 2000. And when she started, most of the clients then were coming in looking for brochure sites. They still saw the internet as a place where they really advertise their services in traditional marketing style. And much of the way that our clients come in, that's the majority of people. They come in, they know what they want their website to look like, they've seen one, they've seen certain functionality they want, and most of the talk is about how much it's going to cost them to get that. What is missing, and what you would get from larger agency work, is that we'd be focusing a certain period of time on the aims, some of the objectives for that, what the target audience is. And we can't do that with these kind of clients, but I still personally want to work with these clients. I think they can achieve the most if you get the right one, because largely the websites that they're competing with are also not aware of these kind of things. So I think you can make bigger gains when you work with this client. And I'll make more sense of that. But what I'm going to do over these few videos is I'm going to show you the sort of plugins that I'm using, how I configure them up, so you can see how I'm doing it. I'll just give you the rationale. I'm not going to tell you these are the best things in the world to use. I don't know that. I'm just going to give you why I think they're good for what I'm going to do, and talk a little bit more about the conversion stuff and how I've set it up on some templates here. But for this video, just to get started, I thought I'd try and give you a bit of background on the way I'm approaching this new style of business. So I'm going to go over to this, which is really showing the design process. So I've been thinking about this for a long time, and the problems that I have working with clients, and in fact it was what stopped me ever wanting to do this as a profession, because I found it was so difficult to, as I learned stuff about digital marketing and conversion techniques and traffic and all that stuff myself, I found it even harder to explain to a client, particularly one who didn't want to spend a lot of money and didn't really want to get the Spanish Inquisition at the beginning of the project. So I thought, well, there's got to be a better way, of a cheaper way or more efficient way of taking people through probably a design process that agencies would take their clients through. And that would work. You know, there'd be bigger budgets. They'd be talking to the CEO, who's got to be more focused on the sort of bottom line. Not so easy with the local clients. But really with this business also, I wanted to make sure that it was going to be profitable to me, and also it was really important to me that I was working on a business rather than working in it. So I wanted to make sure that every step of building this business, it was something which could be documented, put into a knowledge base, and somebody else could be trained up to take over certain parts of it. So in some ways, I am trying to set up an almost a McDonald's franchise type way of doing web design services, but you know, something a little bit nicer than that perhaps. But if you know what I mean, that's the idea, is to set things up in an organized way so somebody else could be trained to do it. And also the other thing is that it's very much focused on the end part of the process, which is the care plan and hosting. So, you know, all of these things are working really by the hour. You're paid for doing the rest of the process, doing the visual design, getting those up. You get paid for your time, and then it's over. This is probably where you can build up a sustainable business, because with a care plan, and certainly with the one that I've been running for a little while, which is already in place, we can automate a lot of the things. So, it takes really as much resources to do one website update as it does 100 of them. So we can scale up this business the more people we have. So the idea is to create something which is going to benefit clients on a low budget, give them more profit, and increase their chances of paying on an ongoing basis to something like this, which is going to be more profitable to us. So that's the idea with it. So we're looking at the process in the beginning. Like I was saying, it's hard to get people in the right mind frame to start their visual design. The visual design for me always comes much later. The aesthetics of it and the stuff that everybody talks about really comes much later in the process. You're starting off with the aims. So here the idea is that there'll be a training course which I'm going to set up, also with a demo site which they can try out, Beaver Builder, and see how this works as a kind of sales thing. But this is also going to be my lead generation for this business. So there'll be a course when I've got this completed, which will be largely sold and advertised as a free course, which is there for how you can redesign or build a new website that's going to compete and make you money, and also save you on your design services. And that's exactly what this is all about. So it's going to be something that hopefully will attract people to look into it without them thinking it's going to be too much hard work. And really what's going to happen in there, and you can't really see it too well on here, I will have a blog post, I think, where I'll explain this much better. But here we'll look at the aims, the target audience, functionality, and explain some of what could be in there. Talk about copy and conversion and where you can get their content from. And the idea of this is it will hopefully stimulate them to get excited about the fact that they can make sites as something profitable, hopefully to get them into a mindset of a digital marketer rather than a traditional marketer. So they start thinking about how they can pull in their customers and convert them rather than push out their sales adverts, which is pretty much how most of them write their copy and think of websites. So hopefully this gets us in the same place, or on the same page by the time they would come to work with us. But also the course, it's not going to be a cheat. It's not going to be something there just to make them work with us. Hopefully this will stand alone. So if somebody wants to go off and select something like Beaver Builder, which obviously would be my recommendation, they could do that and hopefully get something from this course to be able to do this better and build their own website, and probably connect up with me on some other videos and other people in the community. So that's the idea with that. But if they do come with us, what we're offering is 2 days of live website building. So these are kind of 2 half days. And this is not a new idea. We know about the 1 day webs already. I decided that 2 days, half days would probably be a bit better. And the idea is that somebody would be working directly with the client, actually live. So there would be some Skype chatting and some screen sharing going on. And there would be another person, generally my role in this, who would be changing some of the back end stuff, some of the CSS that's not included in Beaver Builder, and that kind of thing, maybe adding in a bit of PHP functionality somewhere in it. But this section there solves a few problems, because here's one of the problems that we encountered before. So under our traditional layout, I'd be working with my friend. She would be largely doing a lot of the design and talking to the client. I would be largely just building the site up. Over a couple of weeks, we'd build the site up, and at the end, they would be looking over it, seeing if it's fine, maybe a few tweaks on it. And then they would arrange a time to get their training on how to manage their own content at the end of it, maybe an hour session at the end. Well, that's fine, but it's kind of lost really, because they've still got their mind on looking at things and whether something needs changing. Their content usually at that point is bang up to date, so they didn't need to make any changes. So they're going to take this hour where they have very little hands-on. It's going to be maybe a couple of months before they really do need to do it, and it's all forgotten. And even if we leave them videos, they're probably not going to be inclined to look through those videos. They may, but they may not so much. But if we get them in right at the beginning, they can be also cutting down our time. So rather than sending us the content that they're going to place in there and we wait for it, we actually we get them to put it in themselves, and they get the training that way. And through a few backwards and forwards with how we'd set this up, I've got a few ideas, and I'll share that maybe as I get it more concrete in my mind about how this process might work, so you can share the work. And that's pretty much how this works. So it solves a bit of a problem with training there. Very much with this one, we're going for the fact that if you've got a page builder, then the benefit is to the client that they can update their stuff. So we're going through that more risky route, if you like, of letting the client have the control. But hopefully through this process, we'll be able to teach them how to do that responsibly. So that's where we get to, and then at the end of this point, well, we can actually just zip up their files and let them go on their own hosting, so they can move that off and they can get the hoster to put them live if they want. But really, as we're aiming to make money out of the care plan, we hope at the earlier stages of this, we will have covered the responsibilities of managing your own site. And certainly for the clients that we get, we don't get people who are already experienced with running WordPress, certainly not in present day where we've got page builders, which are still developing a lot. So there's going to be more things that can go wrong there. And obviously clients have more access. So when I started this, doing it really as a living sort of 3-4 years ago, I was working with the Genesis framework, where largely I was putting stuff in the site that the client couldn't touch, and they were just working with the WordPress editor. This is completely different now, and I think so it probably is less likely that a client can have all the goodness that comes out of having this control, and a lot of control over the design as well, without more maintenance that goes with it. So hopefully we'll have persuaded them at this point that they're going to not get charged extra amount if we put them live. So there's an extra, if you like, product here. So all of this is to productize. So this is another product, and they will come on our care plan. So we'll incentivize this with maybe some discounts on this, and they will cut out the cost of doing that if they wanted us to put us live and come onto the care plan. And that's pretty much the plan of it. I'm sure there's plenty that I could have talked about the rationale, about how I think it might work psychologically with a client. The idea is, although I'm not very far on this, is to also build on adding products. So if we've got the client focused on the idea that they can make their websites profitable and earn from them and get better conversions, they might just be into the idea of monitoring this kind of stuff and adding stuff on as they go, which is not typically what's been happening. So the first thing would be a product which I already have and have used a few times, which is a startup report. So if we've got the client coming through here, I'd be mentioning SEO and the importance of picking the right keywords that you can compete for. A lot of clients are not going to know how to do that. Technically, they're not going to know how to look through the Google data and work out the domain authority of their competitors and what likelihood they have of ranking in those kind of top 5 positions for their set keywords, and they probably will be picking the wrong ones. So hopefully we might be able to sell some of this as a separate report where we actually give them that information, so when we're putting their SEO in here, basically we can do that. Also, there's like a user testing thing here, which I haven't quite worked out the details on it, but what we know with simple sort of cut price user testing, it only really needs 3 people completing the same task to work out that there are a few conversion mistakes in a website. So hopefully we might be able to get clients to come into the idea that they put it, some of the things that typically will argue about whether something should work in a certain way could be put to the test, hopefully reasonably cheaply. And some of the products that will come in later, pay some pay-per-click advertising and some creating of campaigns with landing pages. So that's the whole process for the new business, if you like. It's possible that someone can go here and start to work on something like Beaver Builder themselves and decide that it might be better to work with us for 2 days. The idea of this section here is that it's going to be fairly flexible, so whoever's taking the role of the trainer, designer, talking directly with the client, will be able to switch the emphasis around the design or the training depending on the type of client. And this could also be an ordinary site, as well as now I think it's a lot quicker to build WooCommerce sites. We can also do WooCommerce with that. So that's the plan with this new business. There's the things that I'm trying to solve and where I'm going. So for the next video, I should be looking at my blueprint here. I'll probably talk you through some of the bits and pieces I've put in here, some little conversion techniques which I picked up all along the way, and I've written in some text as kind of reminders. So I will do a video actually for clients on this, which will show them how this particular site works and why certain types of copy is included and certain types of actions are included, and what they do and why they convert better than other things do. Okay, so that's been me. That's a bit of waffling going on there. I hope you've got something useful from it. If you did like it, then please give me a like, and if you didn't like it so much, then please tell me a little bit about that, and otherwise just drop me some comments, and we'll talk about this kind of stuff some more. Anyway, catch you in the next video, hopefully. Talk to you soon. Bye.